I'm Diego Elias, highest world ranking #1, and I'm from Peru. I started playing squash when I was around 3-4 years old. My dad, he used to play, and he used to be the #1 in Peru for a lot of years. So I would always come watch him since I was very young, and yeah, that's how I got into it. And I started playing at my home club in Lima, Peru, called Club Terrazas. I think my dad was the first person that saw talent in me. Since I was 3-4 years old, I started playing a little bit of squash, but also a lot of other sports. And when I was 10-11 years old, I think that's when my dad noticed it a bit more, that I was getting better and better in squash. And since then, I think he didn't force me, but he made me know that I could be good at this sport. My family is the most important in my life, so having them support me in my career, and just having my dad and my mom in a lot of tournaments during the year. My dad comes to almost every tournament, and my mom comes to maybe 3 or 4 a year. It's just great to having them there. It's a lot of support, and then the rest of my family, they all are always supporting me, and it just feels really good. I think traveling the world, playing a sport and by yourself is really tough, and I've done it for a few years, and yeah, having my dad with me in most tournaments now is really great. You don't feel as lonely as you could feel if you were alone, and you have someone that knows you very well, and it's just a lot of support that you can have every week that you're traveling and playing in the biggest tournaments of the season. I like that in squash you have to make decisions really fast, and if you lose your focus for a minute, you could lose 5-6 points. So it's really intense and mentally tough. So yeah, I really like that part of the sport. It's different than other sports for me because of how fast it is, how explosive, how you don't have much rest, and it's really intense, and I love that part of the sport. I used to play a lot of tennis too, and until I was 13, 14, I played both sports, and yeah, when my dad told me to choose, I just decided for squash because it's just a lot more intense, and I like it more. I think the person that inspired me the most to keep playing squash was Jonathon Power.
Canadian from Toronto takes the ultimate title.
I was a big fan of him since I was really young, and I would follow all his matches. And then when I was 13, 14 years old, I met him, and that inspired me even a bit more. I just love the way Jonathon played. I think he was the most enjoyable to watch, and had a good personality, and his game was one of the best for me. Yeah, I'm really proud with all I've achieved in my career until now. I think it's not easy, but also I know I can do a bit more. So yeah, I still don't want to feel that proud. I still have a lot to do. The proudest achievement of my career is winning the World Championships last year. Yeah, it's like any squash player's dream to one day win the World Championships, and in Egypt for me was really special because how big is in Egypt the sport, and how many Egyptians play at the top, and just doing it there was extra special.
Oh, he did it! He can't believe it! Diego Elias, there's absolute silence.
I think for me, winning the World Championships was better than being world number one because of the way I did it. First of all, doing it in Egypt again, playing almost every round, playing Egyptians and beating the best players in the world during the same week. And yeah, I think that was really special for me. My biggest rival in my career, I think it's been Ali Farag. We've played a lot of finals together, and he was the toughest opponent I've ever had. He made me change my game many times and try to improve in a lot of things that I don't think I would have noticed if I wasn't playing him. And yeah, I think him and maybe now Mustafa. We've been having a lot of big matches in the last few years and a lot of big finals that we played together. Hopefully, if I make the final of the Olympics, I would like to play Mustafa after all the rivalry we've had and all the big matches we've played. I think that would be amazing for the sport and for our rivalry. I think coming from South America is more difficult to get to the top in squash because I mean the level is not even close to the same to Egypt or Europe, and I don't think I watched a tournament live before I was I think the first time was when I was 15 years old, so that's really late. Like you see all the Egyptian kids watching Ali Farag and Asal train like 3-4 times a week, so it's normal for them, and I think that helps them. And for me wasn't the same, but I had my dad that really supported me since I was really young. He would take me to all the junior tournaments around the world, and yeah, then seeing also Miguel doing well on the tour, he got to number 4 in the world, won the British Open, so he also gave me a little more belief that I could do it, and yeah, I think that was also really helpful in my career. The squash community in South America is really good. They are all good people. I think in all South America, squash is growing because of Miguel and now me, and there are now a lot of South Americans inside the top 100. So I think more kids are getting into the sport. In Peru, in the last few years, squash has been growing a lot. We have a lot of more kids playing, going to international junior tournaments, and squash when I started was only played in Lima, and now Lima is kept growing with the squash, and also now we play in Piura, Trujillo, and Arequipa, that are 3 other big cities in Peru. I think my favorite squash player right now would be Nur Sherbini. I like watching her matches. I like watching her in the big finals when a lot of people think she's not gonna do it, and then she somehow wins. It's just it's really good to watch. I think my idol in sports has been always been Rafael Nadal. He's always inspired me, and he's also speaks Spanish and just a fighter and one of the best ever in his sport. So yeah, I always followed him, and I think my next goal in squash is to go back to world number 1. Yeah, I was number 1 and won a lot of the big tournaments, but I think I want to be longer at the number 1 spot. And in a few years also the Olympics. When I retire, I would like to be remembered as one of the best that ever played the sport. I think I'm still young. I'm 28 years old, and I can still do a lot more in this sport. So hopefully I can win a lot more big titles.
I'm Naran Gohar. I reached highest world ranking of world number 1, won the world championship, 4 times US Open champion and British Open champion. If you didn't have this type of rivalry and this type of competition, you would never be eager to get better every single day. The way I was wired from a very young age reflected on my mental toughness on court, so that was the mantra that I was living with.